And here we are on Cloud Kingdom, and at the top right-hand corner of the map, we have from ZeeZ, it is Vogue, saying, "Oh, please, good luck, have fun, ZeeZ." His opponent down in the bottom left-hand corner, from Isurus, our Red Zerg player, MuRiLa.
All right, and MuRiLa already showed us that he knows how to make drones a lot.
Yep.
He
knows how to lose them as well, but
decent muta control from what I saw.
Yeah.
He had pretty good macro. I liked the decision early on to build the third hatch at that more hidden location because why not? We don't know how familiar these players are with maps like Cadaria because we just added it to the map pool. So really, we're learning right along with some of these guys. So I like the fact that he could just hide a base and sort of. Wait and see if his opponent would scout it out. The Banshee did end up finding it because of a drone transfer, but not a huge deal. He did just fine, keeping track of everything. And now Vogue going to start scouting on Cloud Kingdom very quickly. I'm wondering if we're going to see that pylon drop at the natural or what this probe is actually going to end up doing. Forge is possible. Cannons are possible. Don't rule anything out here in the Amateur Division. Yeah, on the flip side of things as well, we've been seeing some players that have been experimenting with Hatch first. Now, this is a harder map to do it on for a couple of reasons, but we've still seen, I've noticed a player like Scarlet, for example. She's been taking a lot of risks and been going Hatch first much more against Protoss players than almost any Zerg that I've seen. And it's worked out for her. She knows how to pull it off and stay safe, so... And looks like it is indeed Forge first up at the front for Vogue, so he will be able to he will be able to block the base pretty effectively. But as we can see, MuRiLa did, of course, go for that normal pool first. Everything is shaping up to standards right now for what we expect. This drone might actually sneak off and just build a hatch at the third base location, which is just a fine choice as well. I mean, it's really not too far removed from the main or the natural there to be able to defend it. So not going to be slowed down at all by that potential pylon block, and this probe could start cannoning. This is actually a little bit of a rough spot here for Zerg players to defend against because of the way the minerals are stacked against the terrain like that. He can build at least one cannon. I'm not sure. Is it one or two? Wow. Okay. But yeah, he's got to pull all these drones to be able to stop this, or his hatch he's got to cancel the hatch, and he'll just be way behind. So he's definitely going to try and stop this. Vogue, you might. Oh wow, he actually canceled. Okay, so he's not going to take the risk. Not going to try to build those cannons with all those drones already there and Lings on the way. So, I think that's a decent decision. He got over to that hatch a little bit late to start something like that. Yeah, but this is pretty cool, though, because Vogue, even though he does lose the probe there, with 25 minerals lost essentially in the cost of canceling the pylon, he did way more than 25 minerals worth of damage and that many drones being pulled off the line for that long of a time. Now, conversely, he put up his Nexus a little bit later. He's a bit back in workers. It was kind of interesting. He decided to go for a 16 Nexus after a Forge first. Usually it's a 17 or 18 Nexus, but nothing that's going to irrevocably change the course of this game. And MuRiLa's already got that natural hatch coming up now as well, so he's going for heavy macro mode perhaps. I mean, they are a little bit faster than they were in that first game against a Terran opponent, so we'll see. I mean, he's got to assume that the Forge is down. I'm not sure if he's scouted. Yeah, he's got pretty good Overlord coverage there, so I'm sure he's seen the Forge and Gateway front door there where this natural expansion is. So he could just send a scout in there. He's not going to be able to see anything, of course, as there's really no no pylons or anything inside the main. Oh, but he would be able to see that the second gas isn't being used, which is actually pretty critical. I mean, he got to the edge there, and I think he saw both of them. Yeah, but he just assumes, all right, well, I guess that's up, and it's doing things. But he hasn't clicked on it yet. If he clicked on it, he could see, of course, how much gas was taken. Yep, so far another probe coming for Vogue. He's got +1 weapons coming very quickly. Not much of a force yet, actually, but sending this probe to keep track of everything, make sure that that natural expansion went up and that no 30 roaches are coming at him right now. So nice to know that there is actually a third hatch coming up instead of some super aggressive Ling bust or something like that. So he can play with some breathing room here, getting his Warp Gate Tech and his +1 weapons going on. And as we can see, with that Warp Gate Tech and +1, of course, critically started before Warp Gate Tech was. So, and the fact that he cut so much gas, he cut about 85 to 90 gas from cutting the workers off of the second assimilator for so long, which is why he's putting up Stalkers right now. And it leads me to believe that we're going to see a big push from him. Now, of course, he could slap down a Robo right now and decide, because Immortals aren't the largest gas investment in the world, Stargate, to go after a to go after a little more conservative play. But no, it is going to be a Stargate.
Stargate.
Okay, so Stargate play on this map, obviously, this is just another standard PvZ build where you crank out a couple of Phoenixes, get them roaming around the map to kill Overlords, or you can send them straight over to any undefended base. Since MuRiLa has 3 bases, he's got 3 options to go pick up drones, annoy the crap out of the queens, and basically test the water to see if there are spore crawlers up or anything like that. So Phoenixes are a good choice, I feel, here. If he makes a Void Ray, I'm going to be a little upset, but we'll see what he ends up doing with that. Spine Crawlers on the ground. I don't know if I've seen an Evolution Chamber yet, though, so Phoenixes or Void Rays could be useful. Don't see an Evo Chamber anywhere, so Stargate, yeah, there is a Void Ray, so I don't know. We'll see how that works out. They're just slower. They just feel like they're harder to get traction with on this map. It's a pretty long distance, but one nice thing is you can send the Void Ray out in front of the Phoenixes, and by the time the Phoenixes finish, they can actually catch up because they fly so much faster. So that's at least he's got that going for him.
All right, well, Vogue starting to push his way in now. Spinecrawler is up. Of course, still no hint of an Evolution Chamber. Is he only sitting on 3 queens? He is. So the creep spread's not amazing at this stage of the game. There's a ton of drones out there. Layer tech's only now just started, so these units are going to hit pretty quick. Now, the Void Ray is revealed. Finally, Evolution Chamber goes down, and Vogue's going to make his way out. And
that's huge for MuRiLa. He was not prepared for air at all until that Overlord Scout got popped by the Void Ray, so he has pretty much, I don't know, at least a good minute and a half to prepare, because the Void Ray on its own is not really going to be doing anything. And already you see that Vogue is not building any more Phoenixes or any more Void Rays. So I think he may have been just gambling a little bit there and may have just, considered itself lost at this point.
Looks like he's still going to try and put on the +1 pressure with the 4 gates that he has up. There are already a fair number of spine crawlers up at the front, along with those defensive roaches and multiple queens pretty much everywhere now. MuRiLa did have time to go ahead and hold on. But as we can see, now in the bottom right-hand corner, there's another pylon waiting to warp in some units from behind if MuRiLa takes some damage or shifts too many forces to the front.
Yeah, MuRiLa has good spread, though, at the natural and the third, and right now Vogue doesn't really have enough forces to be able to commit to trying to break this when MuRiLa will have enough time to basically get everything up there, consolidate forces while he's still fighting. But Void Ray trying to pick off this Spine Crawler, again, I don't really think it's going to be able to achieve much. If you look at the production tab again, there's a robotics facility coming up now, so he is switching gears, adding on more gateways. I do expect, yeah, there's 4 sentries there. I expect him to add on lots of sentries from what we've seen so far, just so we can keep those lings and roaches in check. That's the only thing he's really seen out of his opponent so far anyway, so force fields effective against both of those units should probably be fine making some more. There is a Spire coming up now, so that's kind of interesting out of MuRiLa. We'll see if he just does what he did in the first game and makes maybe 7 or 8 mutas poking around trying to harass while he's got some other grand scheme sort of follow-up with that.
And Vogue's doing pretty normal stuff. He's going down all the Protoss tech paths that you want. Twilight Council's coming up. He's already pretty well prepared to go into a Fleet Beacon eventually because he has the Stargate down. Templar tech could follow this up as well, along with Blink Stalkers. So this is all pretty normal stuff. But, MuRiLa had the opportunity probably to get in there and do a bit of damage. He's researching drops once again, as that seems to be kind of the order of the day for him. Root speed does end up finishing up as well. But he's got a fair bit of resources banked, so he will be able to make a lot of air units when the time comes. But Vogue has, you just never really want a Protoss player to sit back and do basically whatever they want to do if you're not going to, tech really, really aggressively yourself. And we don't see an infestation pit or anything like that down yet.
He's going to have the cash for 10 mutas, though, and with the combination of all these roaches and lings that are poised at the top of the map now, I'm not sure really what that's about. Maybe he's staging that area for his Overlord drops. He's making 5 Overlords right now, so I think he's getting ready to do a 1-2 punch instead of the sort of teasing that we saw in the last game where he sent the mutas around long enough to stall. I think he wants to try and do everything at once maybe in this game against Vogue. The main is really undefended. Like, he's going to have to do multiple warpins and pull up all those forces, and if he does, then his third base and his natural are going to be open. So The Muta's not actually joining up with all the roaches and lings, and check this out, Vogue is actually moving through the center of the map now as well, so a lot of different things could be happening here very soon. There was a big warp in also down here, a bunch of zealots ready to come try and kill a hatch, so we've got multiple fronts here. Roaches trying to take out this Nexus. We've got MuRiLa taking out lots of probes. They don't need to get anywhere close to those cannons, so they should be just fine, and this Nexus is definitely going to go down to these roaches. One more spit from all of them, and there goes that. So all the forces are tied up here at the third. We've got zealots just crashing into these queens and spine crawlers, but MuRiLa is very well defended. Mutalisks back at the natural are doing a lot of damage and may actually be able to kill this Nexus as well. That'd be a huge loss for Vogue. All his forces still just trying to get over there, and it looks like the Mutas are going to back off now. He doesn't want to risk losing all of those and maybe not actually get the Nexus. So good idea to pull away. He's making tons of roaches here to sort of get back up on a supply advantage, and now we've got a warp prism, perhaps going to be warping in just some zealots to try and kill off drones again.
MuRiLa's been a really solid player so far, though. I mean, he's defended when it's been asked. Took some damage from harassment. We kind of saw that was his Achilles heel back in game number 1 to all of those Hellions that were out there. But for now, he does have to watch out for this big attack from Vogue. Vogue looks like he's going to take down one hatchery, but he certainly probably has to take down another one in return as well. The Mutas have come right back, and they're going after the Nexus. Nexus very low in health. Once again, he's trying to take out this army in the middle of the map as well, but it's just too strong for Vogue for now. But he's going to lose another Nexus. Vogue is just down to one base.
Yeah, if MuRiLa actually manages to defend here, or at least just kill a lot of the army and, you know, do that thing where Zerg players can just stay alive by cranking out lings long enough to hold off this death ball, MuRiLa is looking pretty good in this game. He's already killed off 2 Nexuses. Vogue does have quite a lot of stalkers, so those mutas are not going to be helpful anymore. Basically, he's going to have to sit back, maybe even have to sacrifice another hatchery, but if he does and he ends up killing the bulk of these stalkers, he's going to be in great position. Pathogen glands are coming up now as well, so he can start making that first round of infestors very soon, and fungals are definitely going to help against these blink stalkers when the time comes.
Well, the Mutalisks are still doing a little bit of damage, picking off a couple more workers here and there. It is going to require a response from Vogue, but he doesn't have a lot of resources at the moment. It looks like he's going to attack right up the front. Not a lot of forces were able to get through. Those were pretty good force fields, able to zone out a lot of the units that were at the back, and just as the force fields clear up, he's going to kill everything up the front.
I feel bad for those poor roaches, and if you noticed, there were a couple of overlords filled with units still. Yeah, he's loading up all of them, perhaps going to try to drop directly onto the stalkers, but I really don't think that's a good decision. He needs to figure out some other use for these units, because dropping onto this number of blink stalkers, he's definitely going to lose 1 or 2 of those overlords before it's going to matter. He's dropping. Force fields are corralling a lot of those units again, so the overlords aren't picked off, but he didn't even drop all the units. He didn't actually, looks like he didn't really need to. He's got a very sizable roach force. He's pushing him back slowly but surely. He's killed a ton of workers as he just pulled up, and all the stalker count is going to go lower and lower. Right now, MuRiLa is basically surging ahead in supply, focusing only on lings and roaches to keep this counterattack force looking strong, and basically it took him a while to get that third back up, and he still hasn't rebuilt the natural, so he's hurting for resources, doesn't really have a ton of army options. He's making 5 stalkers at a time right now to try and just have that blink advantage for when MuRiLa shows up at his front door.
Yeah, but MuRiLa, of course, will probably go through this natural. I mean, there's no real reason for him to waste himself on all these cannons and prepare defenses over at the third, so this is still not a good position for Vogue at all. He's trying to individually blink back his units, but he's not engaging in a great place right here. And he's going to allow some of his stalkers to go down. Don't know why he decided to avoid the defender's advantage. He kind of threw away a lot of forces there, and MuRiLa is just going to be able to roll on through.
Yeah, sitting back with the cannons obviously would have been a lot more helpful for him, but that's just a GG right there.